ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your...
The Louie T Network is powered by the Card Collector Series. Join me, your man, Louie T, on my journey back into the card collecting space with the Card Collector Series on YouTube. Link is in the description. Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Divisional Round Weekend, continued coverage of the 2021 NFL playoffs. Chiefs, Bills, an instant classic. I don't like to sensationalize or be the guy that is the latest and greatest, but at a bare minimum, that is the greatest playoff game I've ever watched. My breath was taken away several times in the final 4 minutes of this game, not just the last two. First of all, this was a hell of a football game, back and forth. It was everything that I thought it was going to be, and then some. I told you guys that it wasn't fair that one of these two teams had to be eliminated in the divisional round. These two teams should have been meeting next weekend for the right to go to the Super Bowl. This was an AFC Championship game. Next week is going to be anticlimactic. No disrespect to the Bengals, but you know what I've always told you. When someone says no disrespect, then they use a conjunction. Every word that follows in the next sentence is disrespect. No disrespect to the Bengals, but they don't want the smoke with the Kansas City Chiefs. They didn't want it with Buffalo. They're not ready. They're not at this level. Yeah, they beat Kansas City in the regular season. This ain't the regular season. Okay. What we saw today was high-level football of the highest order from two of the best the game has to offer. I'm somewhat disappointed because Josh Allen is my favorite player in the league. He's my favorite quarterback. That's my quarterback. He's my favorite quarterback. Loved him since Wyoming. Thought he was going to be what he's turned into. He's actually exceeded my expectations in the short order of the time that he's turned into a superhuman quarterback. I thought it would take another 2 or 3 years down the road, but he's already morphed into one of the league's best. Okay. And he went toe to toe with the league's best in Patrick Mahomes in his building. And for the life of me, I don't understand why teams play so soft with the game on the line. If you just play your regular defense, your two deep shell that you've been playing the entire game that forces Mahomes to check it down, you're not going to give up these big ass chunks. Just play your regular defense. You let them get the drive started off, and I'm talking into regulation, 13 seconds. You let them get the drive started because you're playing 15 yards off. They just run a simple screen. It's perfect. It's Andy Reid at its best. Remember the screen they ran to Tyreek Hill before the half against the Cowboys? Instead of running Hail Mary, Cowboys got everybody down by the end zone. They throw it underneath the Tyreek Hill, get a bunch of blockers out in front, and he scores a touchdown. That's essentially what they did on that play. And it only took 5 seconds to get you 19 yards. I don't understand why teams play so soft. Just play your regular defense with more caution. That's it. Don't play 15 yards off and give them anything they want. Play your regular defense with caution. He had no business being able to get them in the field goal range. And not just in the field. Jay Feely and Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, they're talking about how far can he kick it? If they get this ball to the 42, if they get this to the 44, can he kick it from 60? Can he kick it from 62? Travis Kelce got tackled at the 34-yard line. Like, what are we talking about here? I think it was a 32-yard line. It was like a 48-yard kick. Mahomes is ridiculous. Allen is ridiculous. We talked before this game on the last overtime of Bucks and Rams about needing to have at least a trio of receivers. I think that's the bare minimum now if you want to have an explosive and dynamic offense. I want you to keep in mind that Gabriel Davis is the Bills' third receiver. Not their first. That distinction goes to Stephon Diggs. Not the second. That distinction goes to Cole Beasley. He's their third wide receiver. The man had 8 catches for 201 yards and 4 receiving touchdowns. That's a third option, folks. The Bills are stupid, man. They're dumb. And I'm disappointed that they lost this game because I'm a Josh Allen fan. But I marvel at Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and that group over there in Kansas City. They're so much fun to watch. And watching this game, it was beautiful. No turnovers, not a lot of game-changing, game-altering penalties. This was a clean football game. The Bills were 4 for 4 on fourth down. 4 for 4. And what I've come to realize is that the next, we've got these thresholds of what it takes to be an elite quarterback in the upper echelon. And we talk about things that separate. And one of those things is the deep ball. The elite quarterbacks, they don't miss those deep ball opportunities. When a guy's open, like Josh Allen, I mean, how many yards did that travel in the air? And he hit him in stride. 55, 60 yards in the air, in stride, so he could score. Let that sink in. But we talk about things that separate the elites. Another thing now with the game changing and teams going for it, this game evolves. It is always evolving. It's always changing. And one of the evolutions now with analytics and teams going for it on fourth down is if you've got an elite quarterback, when the game's on the line, fourth down, I got to have it. Can your guy deliver, whether it's with your legs, and we saw Allen do it with his legs multiple times in this game, or with your arm? Mahomes, cerebral on fourth down. We got Allen on the other side. They're 4-4. It's 4th and 13. It's not 4th and 3. It's not 4th and 8. It's 4th and 13. We saw some vicious moves today. How about the crossover Gabe Davis put on Mike Hughes? Vikings fans can tell you all about it, okay? Did you see the crossover? Put the man down on the seat of his pants. Matter of fact, put the man on his back. I broke my back, okay? Like, how is he that wide open? Because he put the man down with a sauce money crossover. That's why. He sham God that man. How about Cooper Kupp's move on the Buccaneers defender late in that game? The first play of the 2 completions Stafford had to get them in the field goal range. Did you see that Euro step he put on that defender? That's what we call that. All right, out on the playground. And the defender goes down. Down goes the defender. Down goes the corner. And Cooper Kupp's wide open. We saw some shit today, boy. We saw some high-level shit today. This game right here takes the cake, though. I mean, I've seen back and forth before. I've seen teams at the end of games, not with the stakes this high, and not with the degree of difficulty. These were some Josh Allen and Mahomes don't make it look, they make it look easy, right? They make it look like it's not that hard. But these are some throws where that throw to Tyreek Hill for the touchdown. First of all, I told you guys this, I think it was 2 weeks ago. He's the fastest guy I've ever seen in my life. I truly do think he could beat Usain Bolt in a race. I truly believe that with every fiber of my being. I might be wrong because Usain Bolt is huge and he's got long strides, but I would put my money on Tyreek Hill. He's the fastest guy I've ever seen in my life. And definitely on the football field, at bare minimum, fastest guy. I knew when he caught that ball and he turned the corner on Wallace, I said, there isn't anyone going to catch him. and what makes it even worse is he's got it in hyperdrive and then he downshifts enough to give you the deuce. What am I watching here? This man is running by everybody on the field like they're standing still and then has time to throw up the deuce. Unreal. What about the performances in this game were legendary? Not just by the quarterbacks, by Gabe Davis, by Tyreek Hill, by Travis Kelce, by Jerick McKinnon. Like, there were unsung heroes on both sides. But my goodness, these quarterbacks, man, jeez. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. You understand why I say what I say about the AFC? Good luck. Good luck. Like, if you don't have one of these guys or you don't have somebody that looks like one of these guys, What are you doing? You might as well stop now and do everything in your power to get somebody that looks like them. Because without injury, which nobody wants, or some kind of stroke of luck, Harrison Butker, for instance, he almost cost the Chiefs this game. And I told you, I made a short list of kickers that I told you I trust in just about any situation. Justin Tucker, Harrison Butker were the top two on my list. I've said that already. And I told you there is a short list of kickers where you go, hey, that dude's, and I told you the Raiders kicker, Carlson, is on that list as well. And it's not a long list. Well, he missed an extra point. He missed a field goal. I had the wrong kicker. I was blaming Tyler Bass, for the reason this game was going to be lost by the Bills. It was almost Harrison Butker. But he came through as clutch kickers do. And when they needed him the most, he made his kicks, and they won the game. But it's amazing to me that we got what we got at the end of this football game because there were so many plays that had to be made. And every single time they made them. And that's the mark of an elite quarterback, a next level quarterback. And I just said this, and I'm going to say it again, and then we'll get into a quick analysis of the game, and then we'll get to your comments. If you're in the AFC and your quarterback isn't named Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, or Herbert, what are you doing? And I'll throw Lamar Jackson in there. Why not? If the Ravens defensively are better, Lamar Jackson is good enough to get them to a Super Bowl. If you don't have one of those guys, one of those true difference makers, Lamar Jackson has already won an MVP. Allen looks like he's going to have one in his future. Mahomes has already won one. Joe Burrow looks like he'll have one in his future at some point. Same with Justin Herbert. If you don't have one of those guys, what are you doing? What do you think you're going to do? Let me ask you that question. What do you think you're going to do? Okay? Like, you're screwed in the AFC. And the bad part is these boys are just getting started. Mahomes feels like he's been around forever because this is his fourth straight AFC championship game. The dude's only been in the league 5 years. Okay? So let that sink in for a second. Let that marinate. Man's been in the league 5 years, been to the AFC championship every year he's been a starter in this league. Let that sink in. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Josh Allen is the year after Mahomes was drafted. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. And Burrow and Herbert just got here in 2020. Those boys are just getting started. I mean, just breath smelling like Similac. They wet behind the ears, breath smell like Similac. They're babies. They don't even know. Burrow doesn't even know what he's doing right now. He's in the AFC championship game. So if you got a Tua at quarterback, you got a Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, you got a Carson Wentz at quarterback, you're screwed. If you're Jacksonville, you got to hope Trevor Lawrence gets paired up with a genius offensive mind that gets him to look like these guys because he's got the talent to play at that level. But else, you're screwed too. Okay? For the first time in a long time, I'm actually glad my favorite team does not play in the AFC. Rodgers is contemplating his future. So is Brady. Brady's going to be back. Rodgers is going to be back. But those guys are, Brady's 44 and Rodgers is on the cusp of 40. If he's not already 40. Don't think he's 40 yet. They don't have but so much longer to play. Wow. Wow. Okay, so let's get to a quick little synopsis of the game because it's just so much to digest just in the fourth quarter alone. But I thought that early on in the game you could see, and the thing I loved about both of these quarterbacks, and Josh Allen, I thought he learned a valuable lesson last season when he lost this same game to the Chiefs. He wouldn't check it down. He wouldn't take what the defense was giving him. He wanted the big shot. He was too aggressive. He turned it over. He made mistakes. Both quarterbacks. Mahomes, early in the season, remember, he went through the same thing Josh Allen went through last year. Want the big play. Want the chunk. I'm used to getting it. Now they're taking it away. What do I do? You saw the maturation of both of these quarterbacks. Oh, you want to play too deep, Shell? Okay, fine. I'll take what you're giving me underneath. I have no problems doing that. It's part of what has made Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers so dangerous for so many years. They're not afraid to take what the defense gives them. If you force them to be patient, they can't. But when you make a mistake, they're going to strike. And that's what you saw both of these quarterbacks do. When a mistake was made, and all it took was a little bit of space, just a little bit of airspace, like Steph Curry. It doesn't take much, just a bit of airspace for him to pull the trigger. Same thing with these quarterbacks. It didn't take much for them to thread the needle to a guy to get a chunk play. I thought early on in the game, I saw a confident Patrick Mahomes just taking what the Bills was giving him, you know. And I thought early on from Buffalo, I looked in Sean McDermott's eyes when he told Josh Allen and company, y'all stay out there on this 4th down and 2. I said, okay, all right, I see what kind of ball game this is. You ain't come here to just barely win. You come in here to destroy these boys. And you know what, and he knew he wasn't going to do that. He knew what type of a party this was going to be. This wasn't the same Chiefs he ran into in week 5 and demolished. He already knew what time it was, but he said, you know what? We ain't beating them with field goals. This ain't that type of party. This ain't Cincinnati and Tennessee. You ain't winning this game 19-16. I need touchdowns. Goes for it on 4th down, they get it. And so the tone was set early. Mahomes said, okay, y'all scored a touchdown. I'm going to go back and get that. We're not going to play this down by 2 scores game today. We're not doing that shit. So he went ahead and got the touchdown back, and he was methodical with it. And there were pockets in this game. Mahomes, 8 straight completions. Mahomes, 7 straight completions. I thought they ran it well with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And what did I tell y'all about Jerick McKinnon? Shh. Don't tell nobody about the secret weapon known as Jerick McKinnon. I said, they figured it out. They unlocked the secret weapon. All year long, he had been wasting away on the sidelines behind guys like Darrell Williams. And I'm like, you do know you have the secret weapon on the sidelines, right? Like, he's the perfect fit for your offense. And it took a couple of injuries for him to get in the game, for them to realize, oh, shit, we've been sitting on a gold mine this entire time. And now the two of those guys together, Edwards-Helaire and McKinnon, give them a devastating backfield, the likes of which they had when they won in 19 with Williams and who was the other back? It was another really solid back they had back there. Can't remember who it was. I think it was another LSU dude, as a matter of fact, but Damian Williams, and it was another dude, and they had a nice little 1-2 punch. This is better than that. Whatever that was, this is better than that. And so they're dangerous. I told you this Chiefs team, they're back like cook crack. And you saw it early in the game with them running the football, establishing the run, and then Jerick McKinnon getting some. And I told you Pringle is a guy that is an X factor now. He had that big touchdown catch early in the ball game. He's an X factor. And it's something else, and this is something else that I thought about when I was watching the game early on with the Chiefs. And I know I'm rambling. I'm all over the place, but this game just it blew my mind. So I'm scrambled. My eggs are scrambled. But remember, Mahomes injured his toe last year. Nobody talked about this. You know, all we talked about was the offensive line stinks and they got dominated. And everybody, and this is the favorite thing everybody likes to do. The league has figured out the Chiefs. Tampa Bay has created the blueprint. Bullshit. Okay. There's no blueprint to stop what you saw tonight. There's no blueprint to stop that. Just like Kevin Durant and pure NBA scores, there's no stopping that. All you do is play the best defense you can, put your hand up as they go up for the shot. You're not blocking it, and hope they miss. That's it. That's all you can do. Try to stay in front of them and contest and hope they miss. That's all you can do with this Chiefs defense or offense is play the best defense you can. Hope a guy drops a ball. Hope your defender makes a good play. Mahomes makes a poor read, or you just called the perfect defense for the play that they just called, or you get pressure on the quarterback. Well, that's why they fixed the offensive line. And Mahomes has healthy feet this year. That scramble on the very first possession of the game tells you all you need to know. A 39-yard run. He couldn't do that in the postseason last year. He couldn't do that. His toe wouldn't allow him to. So he's a different animal now. He's running around and doing that crazy shit that nobody can stop. Josh Allen can do it too, and he can run it. So I saw that early on. Okay, Mahomes is using his legs. That's a good sign. And when he can extend like that, big things happen. Another guy that I thought was huge in this game was Mecole Hardman. And, he's the forgotten man in Kansas City. Remember before the season started, I talked about this on the podcast. He was supposed to be the new number 2 receiver after Tyreek Hill. They had moved on from Samuel Watkins. They needed somebody else to step up. And what they were essentially saying when they moved on from Sammy Watkins and they did not replace him with a veteran receiver or a high-level draft pick, what they were essentially saying is, we spent the second-round pick on Mecole Hardman. He was supposed to initially be Tyreek Hill insurance in case Tyreek Hill did something stupid off the field. Remember, there was that whole leaked tape of his girlfriend talking and him. And so, he could have easily gotten in trouble there, but nothing was there. No incriminating damage was done there. And so he was able to bypass that. But they said, hey, just in case Tyreek Hill doesn't keep his shit straight off the field, we got another dude that can run. But then they said, hey, what's better than one guy that can fly? 2. So they figure, Mecole's going to step in and we're going to have him do some of the shit that Tyreek, he can't. He's not Tyreek Hill. There isn't another Tyreek Hill in this league. So then they said, all right, he could still be a really good number 2 receiver. And that's just not what Mecole Hardman is. He's at best the third option at best. And I think he's more of a 4th, 5th guy, right? They figured that out. Okay. But what they also figured out is just because he's not a guy that we want to get it to in the pass game all that much, doesn't mean we still can't utilize him. The dude is blazing fast. There's still other ways to get him involved. And you saw that with the, they use him in jet sweeps. They got it to him on a play where he got down the sidelines and cut it back and got up the sideline and got the touchdown. You saw him on the drag route. There are other ways to utilize that speed, and they're figuring that out with him as well. So that's just another piece that we don't talk about a lot, because with him, it's hit or miss. He's either making a big play or a big boo-boo. And no boo-boos in this game. All big plays for Mecole Hardman. He was huge in this game as well. Defensively, I got to give it up to a couple of guys on that Chiefs defense. First of all, Nick Bolton. I got a crush on Nick Bolton. That's my guy. One of them out of Missouri. The Chiefs kept him in the backyard, and the dude's phenomenal. He played his ass off again today. But the real difference maker today, I thought, was a guy you acquired midway through the season, maybe a little bit later into the season than midway, and that's Melvin Ingram. I thought he was fantastic today. Melvin Ingram was at times unblockable, and at the end of the game, it got so bad that he was kicking the Bills tackles' asses to the point where they started chipping him on the way out. I mean, he was destroying dudes. Forced a fumble of Josh Allen early in the game. Luckily enough, that ball came right back to Allen. Melvin Ingram was a man possessed. Nick Bolton was a man possessed. They're flying around. They really, truly missed Tyrann Mathieu in this game. I'm not saying Josh Allen wouldn't have done what he did anyway. It would have been a lot harder. I mean, the middle of the football field was so wide open. How many times did Gabe Davis catch something over the middle of the football field with no worry in the world, no care in the world by Josh Allen of anybody making a play? He's not afraid of Nick Sorensen, okay? Juan Thornhill is still a youngster, and, he's not worried about any of those guys. Tyrann Mathieu is cerebral, and he's in the head of the quarterback. He would have made it a lot more difficult on Josh Allen, but I still take Josh Allen in that matchup to find a way to get it wherever he wanted to go with the football. But the Chiefs defensively aren't as bad as they appear to be in this game. I just want you to understand that. The Bills have it on tilt right now. And I'll say this too. Whoever won the toss was going to win the game. Did you guys get that sense too? Whoever won the overtime toss, like that was the most important overtime toss I think I've ever seen in my life. Because in my mind, I said, whoever wins this toss wins the game. The other team's offense won't see the field. They will not see the football. And Mahomes said, look, Josh, it was done to me, bro. My very first year starting, my very first AFC championship game, I didn't even get a shot. Brady did me. I'm just doing to you what was done to me. All right. It's like a gang, and you got to be initiated. Josh just got initiated. So eventually he'll get his turn. But Mahomes said, it got done to me. I'm just passing it down to you, bro. You knew whoever got it first was going to do it. Their defense isn't as bad as it appeared today. That's just Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley and Dawson Knox. And who would have guessed Gabe Davis? Who would have guessed? He would have been the guy. My goodness. On the Bills side of things, this is heartbreaking. If you're a Bills fan, that's hard to process because with 13 seconds left, you're not supposed to lose the football game. Not supposed to happen. Josh Allen thought he won. They showed the shot of his family members. They thought they won. I'm watching the game. I thought he won. I did tell my wife. I said, they got 3 timeouts. It is Patrick Mahomes. I've seen stranger shit. But it's 13 seconds, though. And this is when you get into the finer, granular details of a football game. Case in point, with 13 seconds left, with Mahomes having all 3 timeouts, what good is it to you to kick the football into the end zone and get a touchback? Where's the psychological sense in that? If you think that's the right idea there, you need to wash your face and get your mind right. I want them, even if it only bleeds off an additional 3 seconds. I need it. I need those 3 seconds. I'm not squib kicking it because I don't want to have it hit a player and he fall on it and they get the ball at the 38-yard line. So I'm not squibbing it, but I am going to pop that bitch up and he can catch it at the 10 if he likes. I don't give a shit where he catches it. He's not catching it in the end zone. He's going to bleed these 3, 4, 5 seconds off the clock. I do know that. And he can catch it and fall down. Well, good. You got to go an extra, 15 yards. If you want to catch it and fall down at the 10, be my guest. Now, instead of you starting at the 25, you're starting at the 10. That's 15 yards further back and less time for you to do it. So that was poor. That was the one mistake I thought Sean McDermott made in this game. And I guess you could defer to the special teams coach in that situation. That's on the head coach. He's got to know, hey, wait, here, we popping this bitch up. I need 3 seconds off of this clock. He can't get this with 13 seconds. Now, who in their right mind is thinking they're getting in the field goal range with 13 seconds? Nobody is thinking they're getting in the field goal range. Sean McDermott probably lost his mind. He's got some guy jumping in front of him, and he's telling, get your ass down. This shit is not over, okay? His head's spinning. He's thinking, I might be going to the AFC Championship game, and we might be hosting it. So many emotions running through his head. You still got to coach the game, though. And in that moment, everybody lost their shit because they thought they won, and they let a key little granular detail slip through. Kick that shit in bounds. Make them field it and burn off more clock. You dealing with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes. And that was the 3 that got you on that final possession of regulation that got them into field goal range. So I thought that was a little bit of a blunder on the part of the Bills. But outside of that, from the coaching staff to the players on the field, I thought they were damn near flawless, except for in 2 situations. They ran it on 3rd down and short twice with somebody not named Josh Allen. And with the way he was running the football, this is how I feel at this point after watching Justin Herbert. And remember, they had the failed 4th down where he handed it off to Austin Eckler and the Raiders shut that shit down on 2 straight plays. I'm at the point now where when you got one of these elite dudes, one of these different guys, that's different. He's different. All right. He's not like the rest. When you got one of those, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, when you got one of those dudes, don't take it out of their hand. Okay. Don't take it out of 3rd and 1, 4th, especially on 4th down. Don't take it out of their hands. Don't turn around, hand the ball up. No. Let your elite dude orchestrate because he's going to make the right decision, whether he's got to run, whether he's got to throw it. He's going to make the right decision. Mahomes, how about Mahomes rolling out, hitting Travis Kelce? How about Mahomes rolling out and doing a little push pass to Jerick McKinnon on a big 3rd down when everybody was packing it in, thinking they were going to run it with the fullback? Might have even been a 4th down. As a matter of fact, it was a 4th down. Put it in the hands of your elite QB. He will make the right play. I thought the Bills failed on those 2 third downs, and those were, critical possessions. When you're playing against Mahomes and company, every time you punt is one less opportunity you have to score points. And we know this Bills offense, it don't take much. 1 or 2 first downs, they get into a rhythm. Next thing you know, they're in the end zone. I feel for Josh Allen. Man played his ass off this postseason. You heard the statistics. 9 touchdowns, no interceptions. The NFL record for most touchdown passes in a postseason is 11. He was going to shatter that next week had he played. And the man is done. I've never heard of anything so preposterous in my life. The man didn't make a single mistake this postseason. 9 touchdowns in 2 games. And he's not playing in the championship game. That's what happens when you run into Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mecole Hardman, Pringle, Andy Reid, and company. Defensively, I thought that it was a rough first half because neither one of these teams had a ton of possessions in the first half. I mean, you were seeing some really long drives and some really good execution by both teams. So you didn't have a ton of possessions, but I thought the Bills settled down in the second half. Settled down. They settled in defensively, got some stops, because when it got to 23-14, you felt the shit slipping away. Allen has the 75-yard bomb, and just like that, that defense woke up. Okay. We tripping. Settle down. And after that, they settled in. They truly did. And they only surrendered 3 more points the remainder of the game until we got to that wacky finish at the end of regulation. So I thought they settled in, and for the life of me, I'll never understand this. But you don't play a different defense to me at the end of games, when you're in those situations. I know you don't want to give it up cheap and deep, all that good stuff. Just play your regular defense. You've been playing well all game long. Just play your regular defense. But I got to say this too, and then we'll get to your comments. The Bills went out and drafted Boogie Basham and Gregory Rousseau for games just like this. They're not ready yet. And I said this. I remember when Washington played the Bills in week 3, I said, they don't get any pass rush. Now, collectively as a group, if Ed Oliver collapses the pocket, or Star Lotulelei or Harrison Phillips, one of these guys collapses the pocket, then you get one of those guys off the edge, maybe, just maybe, you can get some, group sacks. I think you had a guy from Carolina play well for you this year. You got a bunch of ex-Carolina Panthers on your team. But you just don't get enough pressure. That's the one Achilles heel of this Bills defense that is excellent. And what did I tell you, Bills fans? I said, you're going to miss Tre'Davious White in the playoffs. This is when you're going to feel his absence, because you don't have enough on the outsides. And what his presence allows you to do is do some more creative things defensively. And he's always around the football. Without Tre'Davious White, you're going to run into a game where you just can't get a stop. And there's nobody in the secondary, even your all-pro safety tandem, no one's going to be able to stop the bleeding. And that's what happened. You couldn't stop the bleeding. And you don't have anybody that can single-handedly up front get to the quarterback and stop the bleeding themselves. What a game. What a game. What a game. What a game. My goodness. Let's get to the comment section. Let me just say this to Bills fans. I know this hurts right now. I can't even begin to sympathize with you. I can't. I know nothing about this feeling that you have right now. I can only empathize. I can't have sympathy for you, but what I can do is I can have empathy for you. And I can tell you that you shouldn't hold your head down. You'll be back many times on this stage and further. You got yourself a real one in Josh Allen. You already knew that. But this was confirmation. This was an exclamation point. You got yourself a real one. I got hyped after the first touchdown that you thought was going to win it, even though I knew that wasn't it. When you scored with like a minute and 43 seconds or whatever it was, I said, he's over there getting dudes hyped. He's screaming, ah! Sorry if you were volume all the way up. Sorry. You had it in your ear. Sorry. He was getting dudes hyped. I was hyped. That's my guy. But I said 15's on the other sideline. And you left roughly 2 minutes and 3 timeouts. He's going to score a touchdown. He's going to score a touchdown. He's not going to look for a field goal. He's going to score a touchdown. I just didn't think it was going to happen like that and give it back to you with a minute and 2. Like, damn, they scored too quick. Because I'm saying to myself, Josh Allen's about to do these boys. And sure enough, Josh Allen went down the field, boop, 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 and did those boys. Gabe Davis, again. 4th time's a trick. And I'm looking at that 13 seconds, and I'm like, nah, this is over. I start sitting down, setting up the artwork. Like, this is over. Then I got up again. Something told me, Lou, this shit's not over. I got up out my seat. I said, hold on. This is Patrick mother effing Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. Let me see if they're going to pop this kick up first. That would be the smart. Then they didn't do that. And I said, okay, he gave them the full 13 and they got 3 timeouts. They can do this. And then when he got the first one to Hill, I said, They put an extra second back on, made it 8 instead of 7. I said, still a little dicey, but they got a shot. Anyway, I digress. See where we at, man. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the being a member of the MOBB who writes, great game, Lou. Why can't we get ish like this? You already know the answer to that, Big Money Sonny. We're light years, eons away from looking anything like what we saw today. This is why I said I'm so glad we don't play in this conference. You don't have to play at that level in the NFC to have a shot. Clearly. As right now, we're watching the 4-seeded Rams and the 6-seeded San Francisco 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback playing in the NFC Championship. You don't have to look like that in the NFC. That's some AFC shit. So we don't have to look like that in order to get to the Super Bowl, but in order to beat a team in the Super Bowl, you're going to have to get your shit together. But you already know the answer to that, man. Why you ask questions you know the answers to already? Emperor Meech, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Emperor Meech, writes, game was phenomenal, especially the quarterbacks. Bills defense let them down, and you see the impact of White in the secondary and the lack of pass rush. Poor job by Leslie on defense, but credit to KC. I agree with just about everything you just said, and I kind of said all of those things already. Tre'Davious White's impact or lack, not playing in I talked about that a month ago. I said, you're going to miss him in the playoffs. There will come a time when his absence will start to show big time. And today was that day. As far as the defense and Leslie Frazier is concerned, I don't know how much more you do differently other than the end of the fourth quarter, the end of regulation with the 13 seconds. I thought that was pure negligence on his part, but he's not alone in that. That's what across the board, all 32 defensive coordinators in the league buy into. I'm waiting for somebody to just be smart. I'm waiting for that one young defensive coordinator to get his opportunity to say, no, F that shit. I ain't playing nothing different. I'm going to play my regular ass defense. I'm not backing up 30 yards and letting you get a 20-yard completion to get this shit kickstarted. Nah, I'm going to play my regular ass defense. I might play my safeties back a little bit deeper. I'm going to play my regular ass defense. And I'm going to make your quarterback have to hold that bitch. First of all, I'm playing man. I'm jamming at the line of scrimmage because, again, you need time. So what I don't want you to do is free release off the line of scrimmage, nobody in front of you, so you can get it to somebody. I want to challenge your receivers at the line of scrimmage, mess up the timing of the play, make Patrick Mahomes hold it a lot longer because you only got 13 seconds. If you can burn 8 of those on this first play, I got your ass. I got you. They burned 5 and got 20 yards. That's blasphemy. So that's where I thought Leslie Frazier in this, but I talked about this before. Lack of pass rush. That's been the Bills' Achilles heel for 2 years now running. Okay. Mario Addison, I think, was their best pass rusher this year, and he's banged up. They need more from their guys up front. But that's what elite quarterback backing looks like. Plain and simple. Black Al B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Black Al B writes, "Yo, Lou, that game was damn near perfect." Say it again, a little bit louder for those in the back that are a little hard of hearing. A shame someone had to lose. It was a damn shame. And I was more disappointed that the winner of this game still has to play another game to get to the Super Bowl. This was supposed to be the AFC crescendo, the end all, be all. That was epic. And now we're going to the Super Bowl. The high of winning this game, you got to then ratchet it back up. They're going to beat Cincinnati next week. But it feels like they shouldn't have to play a game next week against Cincinnati. This should have been, and I said that already. This should have been the AFC Championship game. It's had no business being the divisional round. We were cheated out of this being the championship game, but it doesn't matter when you get it. This is a classic, instant classic. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Really do appreciate you, Ron B. Nick Caps, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "I agree with you, Louie. Tyreek Hill is the fastest human I've ever seen." Look, there could be somebody out there faster. I'm just talking about with my own 2 eyes. I've never seen a person run as fast as Tyreek Hill. He looks like he's moving at a different rate of speed than everyone else on the football field. Like there's a hyperdrive. You know, it's almost like some Hollywood shit. Like he's moving at warp speed, at light speed, and everyone else is just standing still. Like when he catches the ball and he jumps backwards, even his agility is quicker than dudes running. He jumps back and a dude's coming at him, and then he jumps sideways and a guy misses. How many times does he make 2-3 dudes miss in a phone booth? His agility is off the charts. His speed is next level. And I told you, when he first got in the league, he wasn't a polished wide receiver. He made himself into a dynamic wide receiver. It's one, him and Kawhi Leonard are 1A, 1B for me in terms of the guy that came from the collegiate ranks and then got to the league and then made the highest and biggest jump and leap that I've ever seen. Because generally, by the time you get to the pros, no matter what sport you play, you are what you are as a player. You might get a little bit better here or there. If you're a baseball player and you're a 5'2" player, your arm isn't getting any stronger. You may see the baseball a little bit better, may have some more plate discipline as you get to the majors. But generally, either you got plate discipline or you don't. You're a free swinger. Either you got pop in your bat or you don't. You're not going to accumulate power. You know, you're not just all of a sudden, you've been a 289 hitter in AAA and you hit for average and you hit 314 or whatever, and you're gap to gap dude. You're not going to just all of a sudden get to the majors and start hitting bombs. That's generally not how it happens. And in the NBA, you can develop a jumper. You know what I'm saying? You can develop a jump shot. Like that's the one thing you can work on. But, either you got handles or you don't. Like Steph Curry, he got to the NBA and his handles got better, way better. One of the best you've ever seen in terms of how much better he got handling the basketball. But Kawhi Leonard, same thing. He gets to the NBA. And there's a reason he was drafted like 14th, 15th overall. Like coming out of San Diego State, He was, mid-range guy, could do a little something, but he's more of a defender. He made himself into an all-around NBA stud, superstar. Tyreek Hill is the same way. When I watched him coming out of, I think it was West Alabama, this dude was a return man with some offensive flair, a guy you could move around, similar to Mecole Hardman when they got him out of Georgia. And what he did in the first 2 years of his career, mind-blowing. I remember telling you guys when I first realized this dude turned himself into a real top-flight NFL wide receiver. And when you add that into the speed and the quickness, what do you do? What do you do? There's nothing you can do. You can put two dudes on him, knock yourself out. The Black Al B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Black Al B writes, Lou man, you've been saying that everybody in the playoffs had a chance besides the Steelers and Raiders. Throw the Eagles in there too, good buddy. You're right. They weren't going to win the Super Bowl. You're right. Here was the reason why the Eagles had. So the Raiders and Steelers had a 0% chance. Zero. The Eagles had a 2% chance. That's why I didn't throw them in there. But you're right. They were probably in there too. But here's why they had a shot. They had the number one rush offense in football. So if they could catch a couple of teams that they could run the football on, win time of possession, not have Jalen Hurts have to do too much, the defense isn't on the field hardly any, crush time of possession, they could have had a shot. That was the only shot that they were going to have, but they didn't have a chance either. You're right. I could have thrown them in the mix as well. K80 Tick, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, best game of the year, laughing my ass off. When Hill gonna get popped for unsportsmanlike penalties for throwing up the deuces? He actually did get popped for that. He got popped for the deuce once. Remember, they changed the rules. I love the fact that they're not calling shit in the playoffs. Like, let these dudes play. Like, in the playoff, in the regular season, Mahomes slid, and that was a clean hit by Matt Milano. They would have called the flag. They would have threw the flag. At the end of the game, Josh Allen gets pushed out of bounds. They would have called that in the regular season. Let these boys decide the outcome of this game on the field. Okay? I love it. But remember, Tyreek Hill actually went and had a special glove made that had a deuce on it so that he wouldn't actually be penalized. So he could just, when he's getting to the end zone, he could just put his hand up like this, and the deuce would be there. He did that. If you recall, I think it was 2 years ago. He just did it anyway because he was like, I don't give a shit. They're not going to call it. It's the playoffs. I love it, though. Don't call that shit. I love it. Deuces. Oh, man. HTTR for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, there were 24 points from both teams combined in the last 2 minutes. 25 points is what I heard. I wasn't keeping count, but they said 25. Patrick Mahomes had 177 yards after the 2-minute warning. Historical. Yeah. I mean, that's what you get when you have elite quarterbacks dueling it out like this, that refuse to let their teams lose. Again, whomever got the football to start overtime was going to win this football game. It was as simple as that. The other defense wasn't going to stop them. So historical is right. And this was a historical game we watched. Gabe Davis had 4 touchdown receptions in this game. Historical. No other receiver in NFL history has done that in the postseason. This was a one-of-a-kind type of game. Captain Flarbnarg, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we're not drafting one of those guys this year, Lou. That guy doesn't exist in the draft. Nobody in the draft looks anything like any of the guys we've watched this weekend that's actually won a game outside of outside of Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a lot of guys in the draft that look like him. None of these guys look like Joe Burrow. None of these guys look like Mahomes or Allen. None of these guys look like Matthew Stafford. No. None of these guys look like any of these quarterbacks that are winning right now. So, no, we're not drafting one of those guys. Not this year, at least. Jeremiah Butler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, out with the old, in with the new. Deuces to number 12. He's not, he says the 12s, actually, Brady and Rodgers. I don't think they're done yet. But, and I wouldn't be shocked if one of those old geezers won the Super Bowl next year either, if they came back and played, which I surmise both will. Aaron Rodgers and Brady both love the game too much. Rodgers talked about how he had so much fun this year. Brady talks about how he wants to go out on top, winning the Super Bowl. Both of them are going to finish probably 1 and 2 in the MVP, voting and race. They're not retiring after the seasons they turned in. No way. We'll see it happen. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I want one. Why can't we have one of them? 45 years. I've already said some teams and organizations aren't meant to have nice things. They're just not. And when you have an owner like the one we have, who is vindictive and petty and just overall not a nice guy, you don't get these nice things. It's called karma. You don't get the karma that we got. Was they teased us with 2012 with Robert Griffin III, only to snatch it away the very next year. They didn't even wait a full year. They took it from us in the playoffs that year of a game that we were up 14-0. That's how brutal and vicious the football gods are when combined with karma. Just like that, it's gone. So, we're not meant to have something nice like that. And I truly believe this. It's due to our ownership. You can only dream, man. Randy Butler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Randy Butler, writes, hey, Lou. What's up, Randy? This weekend proved why the NFL is king. Best weekend of football I think I've ever seen. The NFL is king, will, I think, always be king, and I don't see anybody dethroning it anytime soon. I've heard people, when the whole concussion thing started to explode, I heard people talking about how, oh, this game is not going to be around 30, 40 years from now. Maybe it won't be. Maybe people won't want their kids playing football, but there'll always be the kids in the hood that don't have any other way out other than athletics. Everybody knows the rules to the game. They know the risks. They know the rules. They know the parameters. They know what's up. There'll always be the kid that comes from a small town like Josh Allen, just loves playing the game of football. There'll be the guy like Josh Rosen. Mom's a doctor, dad's a doctor, mom's a professor. We got money. You don't need it. I just love it. People will always love playing the game of football and will always love watching the game of football. Weekends like this remind you why football's king. Not that we needed a reminder. Some of you maybe. You'll have the NFL is a rigged crowd. Get your ass out of here, okay? I swat those guys away, okay? Yeah, that's right. The NFL buzzed down to the Rams sideline and told running back, what's his face? Cam Akers to fumble twice, once before halftime, one at the end of the game, to make sure that the Buccaneers had a chance to tie the ball game up. Yeah, that's what they said. Okay. Awesome. So anyway, I digress. The NFL is king. It remains king. And weekends like this. Last week was a dud. They had the audacity to call it super. No, the super weekend was this weekend. But, I told you the watered down version of the playoffs happens last week because that's what happens when you start letting in 7th seeds. They don't belong. Both of the 7 seeds got their asses whooped. We don't need them in the playoffs. They're going to do it for the extra game and the extra revenue that's generated by that extra game. We don't need that shit, though. It's going to water down the product. This is the concentrated version right here. Divisional round. This is the best weekend because it's concentrated. These teams are all good. Despite the Titans having Ryan Tannehill, that's still a good football team. Everybody's good here. 49ers got Jimmy Garoppolo. That's still a good football team. Tony P56, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Tony P56 writes, why not us, Lou? Why not us? Again, you know the answers to the question. Why do you ask? Why do you torture yourself? Just enjoy the football, man. Enjoy. We do this same thing every year. We watch these elite quarterbacks do their thing, and then we come back to one another and say, well, we can't have, because we're not supposed to have a guy that looks like that. We wouldn't even know what to do with a guy that looks like that. Our owner would lose his mind, give him a private jet, and make him the owner of the team, a co-owner. He wouldn't even have to listen to the head coach. That's what happened with Robert Griffin III. We wouldn't even know what to do with when we would have to get a guy that's so humble that he would have to refuse Daniel Snyder's advances to make him more powerful than the head coach and the GM. He would have to say, nah, I'm going to just listen to my coach. Mari Too Slimy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mari Too Slimy writes, yo, Louie won 300 off this game combined. But did you see all the dogs on defense going for the ball every play? Yeah, me too. Wish we had some of those. I mean, even there was a fumble by Jerick McKinnon where the safety, he's an all-pro. All right, Micah Hyde goes in there, whoop, punches that bad boy out. Luckily enough for the Chiefs, their guard, Andrew Wiley, was standing right there and had the presence of mind to dive on that thing. That was a fumble. That ball was out. Okay. When Melvin Ingram hit Josh Allen, he didn't go for the sack. Like our guys, Chase Young would have went for the ball. I firmly believe that. But like Montez Sweat and anybody else on our defense, they just going for the hit. They want to crush him. He would have held on to it because he's a big dude. Chase Young would have went for the rock. But Ingram went straight for the rock. Bow! Hit that arm with veracity. Ball comes out. Now, luckily, again, it bounced off of a defender right back to Josh Allen, who recovered it. But you got to go for the rock. Congratulations to you for winning the 300. And, yeah. We see it all postseason long. We've seen guys with that mentality go after the football. Leno Ryan Benavite, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what a game this was. Shows how far Washington is from being a true contender. I do think the other team should get a chance to answer in OT. QB envy. I don't. First of all, I was a huge proponent of the overtime rules being the way that they were originally. You give up any points, you lose. But you know what? This has grown on me that if you kick a field goal, the other team should have a chance to respond. You give up a touchdown. My thing is, you give up a touchdown, that's it. You don't get a chance to respond. This ain't college football. Everybody doesn't get a turn. Okay. Life's not fair, and neither should this overtime. Okay. You can't get a stop defensively. You don't deserve to win the football game. I don't want to see the game end up 79-79. That's what happens when you tell two teams, you get a chance and you get a chance. And if they don't score, then you can get a chance to score. If you don't score, then we'll do it again. I don't want to see that shit. If you give up a touchdown, Game's over. You don't score in the opening possession. The other team gets the rock. They score now at sudden death. I love it the way it is. Doesn't need to change. And we all have QB envy. And it's not just Washington fans. If you're a fan of a team that doesn't have a quarterback that looks like that, you too have quarterback envy. Again, I have less of it because I'm in the NFC. I'm where it's safe and the coast is clear. We're watching the AFC with binoculars like, shit's not safe yet. Can't go over there. You know, I'm telling them, hey, keep Deshaun Watson's ass over there too. If his ass ain't playing for us, tell him to keep his ass over there in the AFC. Don't bring your ass over here with that bullshit. But we're in the clear. We play in a division with Josh out. I mean, with what's the damn quarterback from Duke? Jesus Christ. Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts. We play in a division with those two at quarterback. And those teams are saying, and then they're saying, we play in a division, if you're an Eagles fan, with Daniel Jones, and we don't even have a quarterback, Taylor Heineke. You know, like, our division stinks at the quarterback position, stands for that. Our conference as a whole stinks at the quarterback position for the most part. And none of our guys look like that, you know, except for the old guys. None of the young guys look like that. So everybody else in the league has quarterback envy. The Lions have quarterback envy. They got Jared Goff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's got quarterback envy. Your quarterback doesn't look like that. You have quarterback envy. Jordan Jones, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, as a Bills fan, this is going to sting for a while. But what a game. Nothing but respect for the Chiefs. It should sting, you know, because you thought you had won not once but twice. And the one with 13 seconds, that's the one that more so than any stings the most. That's the one where if you're a Bills fan, you just replay that one over in your head over and over again. Like, how did we manage? We had the number one defense in the league this year. How did we manage in the most crucial situation with 75 yards of real estate to defend? How did we manage to give up 2/3 of that and allow a field goal to be kicked in 13, not even in 13 seconds? Because when they called that timeout with about 3-4 seconds on the clock, I mean, in 9 seconds, it was probably more like, how do we allow that to happen? Head up, though. Chin up. Chin up. You got a real one at quarterback. And that, my friends, is going to have your team in the runnings every single year. Mustango, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Mustango writes, Buffalo needs to make changes defensively and fast. I mean, you say that they had the number one defense in the league. Okay. They gave up the fewest points in the NFL this season at just slightly over 17 a game. I don't think they need to change too much. They just need to get after the quarterback. They drafted some young boys. I mean, but you don't expect young boys to come off the, come out of the collegiate ranks, jump right into the league and start bagging quarterbacks at a 13 to 14 sack clip. They got to learn the nuances of the game. I'm not a Boogie Basham fan. Wasn't at Wake Forest. I'm not now. But the kid they took out of Miami has a chance. He's long, pause. He's athletic. And I think he's going to be a problem once he continues to fill out his frame and then understands how to win against NFL offensive linemen. I think he's going to be, once he learns how to use his length, I think he's going to be a problem. So there may be help on the way. But that's the one part of their defense I look at and say they need more production out of that unit, and that's the D-line. Baron Von Monkey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, "Sup, Lou? Sup, Baron? Buffalo scores with 13 seconds left. Then on the kickoff, they kick it into the end zone. Why? Great question. I already addressed it. He says, you kick that inbounds, run 5 to 6 seconds off the clock. Exactly. My point exactly. I don't understand. Again, I truly believe Sean McDermott, even though he seemed like he was trying to keep everybody calm on the sidelines, trying not to himself become delirious because he thinks he's won and slayed the dragon known as the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he lost his mind for a second, because if he were in it, like, I hate to do this because the Bills don't want to hear this shit. I don't want to say this shit, but Bill Belichick isn't jumping around till the game's over, right? And McDermott wasn't jumping around, for the record. But ain't nobody jumping into Bill either. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit how happy you are. We ain't never seen a coordinator, a positional coach, nobody with 3 seconds left on the clock. Now, Bill will hug you, do all that shit when the game's over, but Bill's still coaching in the elites. I remember Nick Saban, they're up 24 in the national championship game. They're kicking ass. He's still cussing out players with 30 seconds left. These are backups. Game's over. He ain't stopped coaching yet. And in that moment, I feel like Sean McDermott dropped the ball. And again, I don't want to belabor this point, because who in their right mind is thinking, I don't give a shit who is your quarterback, who's thinking 13 seconds is enough to get you in the field goal range for a realistic kick? Yeah, okay. Harrison Butker comes on the field to kick a 65-yarder. Okay, that shit maybe. Who thinks he's going to end up kicking a 48-yard field goal with seconds to spare? I mean, who thinks that's going to happen? He wasn't thinking, but he could have trimmed those seconds off with a pop-up kick. Got to be here at all times. Got to be locked in for a full 60. He blanked for the last 13. Cost his team. JM1231. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Rams, Chiefs, and that are the best games I've ever seen. Rams, Chiefs on that Monday night back in 2018 was phenomenal. Phenomenal game. This was better. That game was crazy because neither of the defenses could stop the other team's offense. If you guys recall, that game was like 51-48, something like that. Some crazy score like that. It was crazy. It was a crazy game. Jared Goff had it on tilt. Mahomes was ridiculous. That was his first year as the starter, and nobody knew he was going to be that good and couldn't stop the Chiefs on offense. No one could stop the Rams that year on offense. I want to say that was Sean McVay's second year in LA, and that was the year they went to the Super Bowl. So that was a hell of a game, but that was a regular season game. The stakes were not this high, and what was on the line in this game was not just a trip to the AFC Championship game, not just an opportunity to host the AFC Championship game. Those two teams knew in the back of their minds, if we win this game, more likely than not, we're going to win the Super Bowl. We won't see a better team than the team we're facing today. Both teams could say that. The Chiefs aren't going to play anybody better than Buffalo the rest of the way. Neither of those teams in the NFC are better than Buffalo, and the damn Bengals aren't even close. And the Bills are saying the same thing. If we beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, the Bengals aren't there yet. They're coming, but they're not there yet. And neither of those teams scare us. They're not even close to Kansas City. So in their minds, they're thinking, we win this game. I mean, there are times when the team you play in the championship game is like the Super Bowl. Once you beat them, it's anticlimactic the rest of the way. When John Madden and his Raiders team finally won in the AFC Championship game against, I think they beat the Steelers. And that was the team that they could never seem to beat. And they finally got over that hump. The rest of that shit was anticlimactic. And I don't know if they beat the Steelers or not in the AFC Championship game. I can't recall. But I remember John Madden vividly saying, after we won that game, the rest of the shit was a piece of cake. That Super Bowl, that was nothing. We knew we weren't going to see a team better than the team we just played. It was the same way in the 90s. when the Cowboys and the 49ers would play each other every year, then you sprinkled in the Packers at the very end, they knew won't no AFC team going to beat them. That was as tough as it was going to get. The team that they were staring across in the NFC Championship game. The Buffalo wasn't going to beat them. They knew that. Every team that came out of the NFC, when it was the Bears, the 49ers, Washington, and then ultimately became Dallas, that stretch there in the 80s where the NFC dominated, we weren't afraid of any of those AFC teams because it was hell. It was treacherous getting out of the NFC playoffs. You had to beat the Giants and Bill Parcells. You had to beat the Washington Redskins and Joe Gibbs. You had to beat the 49ers and Bill Walsh and then eventually George Seifert. Then eventually the Dallas Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson. It was hell getting out of the playoffs in the NFC side of the bracket. But if you did, who the hell is the Denver Broncos? Who are they? Who are the Buffalo Bills? Yeah, that K-gun offense is special. We don't give a shit. We're not afraid. That's what this game felt like. Who are the 49ers? Who are the Los Angeles Rams? Who are the Cincinnati Bengals? That's why this game should have been the championship game. You shouldn't have to play another game to get to the Super Bowl after this one. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That Rams-Chiefs game was a great regular season game. It wasn't better than this game. Not to me. And again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. 1/6 Devil Doc. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, Lou, I can't believe it. 13 seconds. What the F? After this, I'm convinced that Mahomes made a deal with the devil. Feel bad for my brother and JL Smooth. I feel bad for JL Smooth and my guy J Cam Man. Those are my most and my guy Everyday Flash. Shout out to my guy Everyday Flash as well. Those are my most loyal Bills supporters and guys that I've been talking to for years. And I know they're feeling some type of way tonight, man. And I feel bad for them. And it's gonna take a while to get over it. You know what I'm saying? Like that hurts. That the 13 seconds hurts. They knew the game wasn't over when they scored with a minute and whatever it was, a minute and 43 or whatever it was. They knew the game wasn't over then. Like, yeah, my boy Josh did it. You know what I'm saying? It was 4th and 13. The game was almost over at 26-21. My boy Josh did it. But they knew the game wasn't over. Right? Mahomes got 3 timeouts, a $1:30, a $1:40. Okay. They didn't expect to get it back though with a minute and 2. I mean, they didn't think it was gonna be that quick. So they was like, all right, Josh, do him one more time. And he did. And that's the one that hurts. When you got 13 seconds left, you think you won the game. We going to the AFC Championship. We hosting the AFC Championship game. Who would have thought? Not so fast, my friends, as a wise man once said. Jizzle, stand up. You are officially the newest member of the MOBB mob. You know what to do. Show Jizzle some love. Welcome to the squad. So glad to have you as a member of the MOBB. Welcome aboard, Jizzle. Jeremiah Butler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for the super chat. Jeremiah Butler, who writes, definitely don't see the 12s retiring, but the baton is officially passed. They now loiterers. They're just hanging around now, huh? I don't know about that. You may have to eat those words. He says, I think A-Rod leaves Green Bay after that game, though. Hopefully we get Godwin on a prove-it deal. Godwin, he didn't leave in Tampa Bay, I don't think. We'll see what happens. He was playing on a franchise tag, though, and they're not going to tag him again. But I think they're going to have some money freed up, after this season, because you wanted to run it back when you won the Super Bowl. Now you don't have to run it back. You didn't win the Super Bowl. So now some of these guys can come off the books. Like an Ndamukong Suh, for instance. You can move on from him now. You don't have to pay him, whatever you would pay him, $10, $13 million, whatever that was. You don't have to pay him that next year. You don't have to pay AB, whatever you were paying him. I don't think it was a ton, but it was some. All that money could be reallocated to a guy like Godwin to keep him around, So OJ Howard was making a good piece of change in his last year of his rookie deal on a first round contract. That last year, it's a pretty good, sizable amount of money. So that's coming off the books. Again, they'll be in a much better spot to try to do something with Godwin. And I think, Godwin wants to come back. So we'll see what happens. The baton has officially been passed. If those quarterbacks were in the AFC, I would say, sure, absolutely. They're in the NFC. So you still got to go through them, if you're in the NFC side of the bracket. You still got to go through those dudes more likely than not to get where you want to go. And more likely than not, if they play and you get to the Super Bowl, you're probably going to have to get through one of those dudes. So we'll see what happens. But the young boys, they're here to stay. They're not going away. So, Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, yeah, after watching these teams go at it, it just reminds me how far away we are from this level. This weekend of football is the best I've ever seen. It was good. It was damn good. And to have all four of the games end on the very last possession of the game, 3 walk-off field goals and 1 walk-off touchdown in overtime. To have 4 walk-off touchdowns, I don't think we've ever seen that in any one weekend of playoff ball. You've got 1 or 2 walk-offs. Not like this, I mean, the one earlier today was just asinine. That had no business being close. That was the one game this weekend that easily could have gotten out of hand. And it was out of hand for the bulk of the game. I mean, it was 27-13 with 4 minutes left. And somehow that came down to a walk-off field goal. That's crazy. It was a great weekend of football. Edward Washington, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Bengals versus Rams in the Super Bowl, calling it. I'd love to see the young guys, Bengals, get a chip. You skipping steps, Edward. You making that decision with your heart, not your head. And that's okay. Rams, I could see them getting there, but the boogeyman's waiting on them. I'm not too sure about that, but we'll see what happens. I think they're the better team and they should advance, but we'll see. But the Bengals, those young boys, they don't know any better, right? They don't know that they're not supposed to be here, but the championship game has a strange way of waking your ass up and dousing you with some cold ass water, just a slight bit of reality, a cold hard dose of reality. Like, hey, this is a great season. You ain't there yet, though. Josh Allen ran into that last year. Mahomes ran into it his second year in the league. Burrow's gonna run into it in his second year in the league too. Like, hey, this is fun. I'm in the championship game. You ain't getting sacked 9 times against the Chiefs and winning 19-16. Sorry, not sorry. Mahomes and company, they not turning it over. Mahomes ain't throwing 3 picks. Those boys ain't ready. They ain't ready. It's going to be nice that they're here and they're getting their feet wet and they're getting the experience that is necessary. But they ain't beating the Chiefs in Arrowhead. It ain't that type of party. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Fat American writes, that Chiefs number 24 on the D-line was destroying Brown. That guy that you're referencing, number 24, that would be Melvin Ingram. And yes, he was kicking some ass. Okay. Like I said, Ingram was a one-man wrecking crew in this game. And that was fun to watch. He just wanted a chance. He thought he wasn't getting an opportunity in Pittsburgh, and he just wanted an opportunity. And man, is he making the best of it in Kansas City. Let's see if we got any more super chats. We do hear from Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Just Andre. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Washington football team going to sign Jimmy G. They're going to say he led the 49ers to 2 NFC championships and a Super Bowl. If that happens, both feet are out of the car, and a lot of people will be leaving with you out of the vehicle, I'd be tempted to get out myself, but I'm not going to get out. But I'd be tempted to get out as well, because I've said this, I've been adamant. But remember, I was also adamant about not wanting Ryan Fitzpatrick anywhere near our roster, and they signed his ass too. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So if that is what, and so keep this in mind, okay? This is why we're not going to get Jimmy G. So you don't have to worry about this. You have to trade for him. Now, I don't know what the 49ers will be asking for, whether they win the Super Bowl, make it to the Super Bowl, get eliminated in the championship game. I don't know what they'll be asking for. They're not going to just outright release Jimmy G. They're going to get something for him. What are they looking for in return is the question. No one's giving up a first-round pick. No one's even giving you a second-round pick for this dude. I wouldn't even give a day 2 pick for him. You got to take this day 3 draft selection, okay? Get out of my face. But he's making some good money. I don't know what the amount of money left on that deal looks like, but it's a solid piece of change, I would believe. I don't think Washington's trading for him. Now, if he were available on the free agent market, that might be a different story. I don't think they're going to trade for him. We'll see. Jonathan Abarca, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, "Hey Louie, been watching the show since the days of RG3. LOL. Just wanted to show my support." I appreciate that, Jonathan, man. That's when I first started, and I remember doing that starting 5 segment that I did all year long, chronicling those 5 quarterbacks that were starting, that were rookies, the 4 first rounders: Whedon, Tannehill, Robert Griffin III, and of course Andrew Luck, and then Russell Wilson rounded out that group of 5 rookie starting quarterbacks that year. You don't see that very often in the NFL. But and I think all 5 of them, if I'm not mistaken, started from the jump, week 1, right out of the gate. I could be wrong about that. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Jonathan, and good to hear from you. Black Al B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Black Al B writes, "Funny you said Watson needs to stay his ass over in the AFC. I've seen reports that the Vikes are sleepers to try to land him once they get a coach and GM. I would much prefer, he's coming east. He's coming to the NFC. I don't see him returning to the AFC. It sounds like it's going to be an NFC team that gets him, because everybody over there needs a quarterback. The AFC, there's some teams that need quarterbacks, like the Broncos, for instance. The Steelers could use a quarterback. There's some teams that are in desperate need, but it's not like the NFC. I mean, everybody in the NFC is searching for an upgrade, it seems like. So I think he's going to make his way east, whether it's the Giants. We've heard rumors of that. Vikings, as you just mentioned. I mean, there's so many, moving parts. Like I said, we'll see what that first domino is in terms of the first quarterback movement that will start to dictate the way things go this offseason. So we'll see what happens. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Mr. Ron B, who writes, "Sorry about the blank message earlier. No need to apologize. It happens." He says, "I was trying to say that football fans and all 3 TV networks got their money's worth this weekend." Facts, Mr. Ron B. Absolutely 100% unequivocal facts. No equivocations. This is why the networks are willing to pay the amount of money that they pay, because I think I read somewhere that the top 50 most watched TV programs this year came out. The list came out like a month, like maybe 3 weeks ago or something. Obviously, the turn of the new year. And of the top 50, I want to say 47 of them were football games, NFL games. I mean, that tells you all you need to know. I mean, the Cowboys 49ers game, I think I've read somewhere it was the highest watched game, playoff game since the Bengals and 49ers, I think, which was the number one, and it still is, I think. And that was back when you didn't have, cable and 877 channels. That's why MASH, the final episode of MASH is still the highest single watched episode of, anything on TV. Because back then, when that final episode of MASH aired, there were like 4 channels, 3, 10, 13, and 15. I don't know. It was like 3 channels. You had the little knob on the television. You turn it once, it was 3. You turn it again, it was 10. You turn it again, it was 13. Like, that's it. That's all you had. So everybody was watching the same shit. So many other things you can be watching now. And for the NFL to still rank like that, I mean, they got their money's worth for sure. John Livingston. My guy, JL Smooth, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. I honestly did not expect to see you tonight. I didn't. You got no reason to be ashamed. Yes, this one stings. It hurts, and it's going to take a while to get over. But your quarterback, and you knew this already, and we've had these discussions already, but your quarterback, your team is legit. And you will be back, and you will play in these games, and you will win a lot of these games. My guy JL Smooth writes, Lou, I'm just at a loss for words. Went from the highest of highs when Allen hit Davis to the lowest of lows. And now it's over. This sucks. And that's what I said. The one with 13 seconds remaining, I can't begin to imagine, which is why I said I can't sympathize. I can only empathize with you. I can only begin to imagine the range of emotions, because I can only imagine what I would have done if that were my favorite team. I'd have been jumping around, screaming at the top of my lungs. The house 3, houses down would have hurt me, because I would have been screaming so loud, jumping up and down. And I'd have been out of breath before I realized still 13 seconds left, and there's still Patrick Mahomes on the other sidelines. And to go from that high and the jubilation of thinking we're going to host the AFC Championship game, we're really going to do this, to then Harrison Butker coming onto the field to attempt a 48-yard field goal that he's going to make, and this game going to overtime, and knowing, even with all that, you say to yourself, we win this toss, we win this game. And to not win the toss, you knew you lost. You knew whomever won the toss was going to win the game. The other team wasn't going to see the light of day unless there was a turnover. Because I firmly believe that had the Chiefs run into a 4th down, they would have gone for it. Just because they knew what was on the other sideline. Hang in there, JL Smooth. Hang in there, man. It's tonight is going to be a rough night. I get it. As a fan, like, I know if you're not a fan or you're watching this from afar, you're saying, you guys are so extra. Nobody died. You're right. Nobody did die. But you know what? A season died tonight. That 13 seconds left had life. And as much of energy, resources, time, hell, even money that we pour into these teams as fans, it's different. It's not like anything else. Sometimes we care too much. But when you invest as much emotionally as we do as fans, this shit stings. This isn't something that you just get over with. The game's over. 30 minutes later, you're straight. JL Smooth will be thinking about this tomorrow when he wakes up. And when he turns on his TV, he won't want to watch. Like, we've all been there. When your team wins, you want to watch every post-game show. You want to watch NFL Network. You want to see what they got to say. You want to watch ESPN. You want to see what they got to say. You want to wake up the next day, see what Skip and company have to say. and Shannon, and then you want to see what they're talking about on First Take, what Stephen A has to say. I don't watch any of that shit. I don't care what any of them have to say. But I'm guilty of when we win a big game, as we go to the Sunday night, I want to see what Tony Dungy and the Sunday night crew have to say about that win. I'm interested to see, what people that I respect have to say about the contest. You're soaking all of that shit up. But when you lose, I don't want to hear nothing. Turning it off immediately. I don't want to hear no post-game react. I only want to hear from my guys, and that's it. I want to hear nothing else. I want to hear from NFL Network. I want to hear from ESPN. I want to hear from NBC. I want to hear from none of that shit. We invest so much. That shit hurts. So I commend you for showing up tonight because I didn't think you would be here. I commend you for showing up. And I'm just like I told Mr. Jones earlier. Chin up. Chin up. You got yourself a real one. You'll be back. And this ain't on some Dan Marino. Oh, he made it to the Super Bowl in his second season. He'll be back many more times. Bullshit. This is different. You'll be back. You'll be back. Thank you for the super chat, JL Smooth, my guy John Livingston. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Fat American writes, man, we're so far, Lou. So far. A lot of work to be done. I hope it didn't take this game for you to figure that out, Fat American. And any other Washington fan out there. Every year, we watch these playoff games and we say the same thing. Oh, my God, our team doesn't look like this. We don't have a quarterback like that. We're so far away. This game tonight didn't change the fact that we've felt this way for the better part of a decade. Yeah, we're far away. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have a complete roster. We don't even have a complete offense. Our offense looks nothing like the teams we've watched this weekend. Our offense doesn't look anything like the Cincinnati Bengals. It doesn't look anything like this Chiefs or Bills offense. It doesn't look anything remotely close to these offenses that we've watched that are high-powered, high octane. The Rams, it looks nothing like it. Hell, our defense doesn't even look like the Titans' defense. Jonathan Abarca, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Jonathan writes, I remember that, LOL. I'm pretty sure that QB comparison is why I subbed. I'm hoping your team can find another QB soon with that fresh new name and look. That's the only thing that gives us a small glimmer of hope as a fan base, is that the new name and the new look will bring us new juju. It'll bring us a breath of fresh air and maybe a new chance to start anew and maybe do it the right way. Not that any of us wanted this, because we would much rather go back to Redskins. Trust me. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. But that's the hope, Jonathan. That's the hope, man. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for doubling up. Michael Rojas, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Michael writes, good thing Bills took care of Allen's money early. Great point, Michael. And I talked about this on the podcast when he got the deal, and I talked about it. I said, teams who wait. And I think the most valuable lesson learned was that with the Ravens, the year that Joe Flacco bet on himself. The Ravens offered him a deal, but it was a low market deal. And Flacco was like, nah, I'm not taking that. Played out the string, won the Super Bowl. That 11 touchdowns that we talked about was the most in NFL history for the postseason. That was Joe Flacco. 11 touchdowns, no interceptions en route to that Super Bowl in 2012. The irony is Flacco got broken off the next offseason because he won the Super Bowl. They weren't going to let him leave. And they had to dismantle the entire team to re-sign him, and they were never the same after that. I think that was a lesson to the rest of the league. If you got a guy that you believe in, lock his ass up. Lock him up. Lock him up, which is why the Philadelphia Eagles locked up Carson Wentz. It ultimately turned out to be a mistake, but that was the right decision. Lock his ass up. Lock him up. You think you got the guy? Lock him up. You know, that's why the Rams locked up Jared Goff. You think you got the guy? Lock his ass up. You may ultimately not have the guy, but at least you're not going to be paying for it if you do have the guy, which is going to be a lot more expensive than if you don't have the guy. Because in both of those situations where teams thought they had a guy and they locked him up early, they were ultimately able to get out of those deals by trading that player. So you can make a mistake. You much rather err on the side of making the mistake early. The Browns, I'd say, hey, you should wait on Baker Mayfield because I'm not sure, and neither are you. They waited, and good thing they did because you still don't know about Baker Mayfield. But I said the Ravens effed up on Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he got hurt this year. It doesn't matter. You saw how their season fell the hell apart when he wasn't in the lineup. They should have paid Lamar Jackson early. That's why the Chiefs paid Patrick Mahomes early. Everybody, oh, my God, Mahomes got $500 million. Any agent will tell you Mahomes took a team-friendly deal because that deal will not age well. But 500 in hand is better than, you know, just continuing to take money from the organization and not allow them to sign some of the guys that's going to help you win. Because Mahomes is killing it. Head and Shoulders, Beats by Dre. I mean, State Farm. He's killing it. Again, if you killing it off the field, I don't have to bust you over the head on the field. It's the reason Brady could take less. I'm killing it off the field. I got endorsements all over the place. I don't have to rape you. If I want to, I can, but I don't have to. The Bills were smart. They identified that we got a stud. Let's lock him up now. And they did that. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, we want to win, but so far almost feels like more expected than so close. Cowgirls Super Bowl bound every year. He says, but no, go away. The faintest of smiles for us. I told you I'd much rather bask in the glory of my team's success than celebrating the demise of someone else's lack of success. Yeah, the Cowboys losing in the playoffs brought us copious amounts of joy. But at the end of the day, we're laughing at a team that made it to the playoffs, won the division, and didn't win because they had expectations. We didn't even make it to the playoffs. So while that I took some solace in that and knowing that they're not going to win either, I still much rather have my team be good. And that'll never change. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, knew we stunk, but these teams stepping up big. Yeah, but they do it every year. The Chiefs do it every year. The Bills have been in the playoffs for the last 3 years. And they've been to the AFC Championship last year and the Divisional Round in an epic thriller this year. The Titans have been in the playoffs 4 years in a row. And they went to the AFC Championship game 3 years ago. The Packers in the NFC Championship game 2 out of the last 3 years. This is what these teams do. Buccaneers, Super Bowl last year, divisional round this year. We know what it looks like. We know what it looks like. The one silver lining is that every year a team gets a quarterback and goes from bottom of the barrel, middle of the pack to Super Bowl contender. Bucs did it last year with Brady. Bengals did it this year because you got to look at Joe Burrow's rookie season getting cut short. And it feels like you added a first overall pick all over again to the mix. And he comes in and they go from one of the worst teams in football last year to AFC Championship game this year. And that is the hope. But here's the difference. Buccaneers added the greatest of all time. Bengals added a guy that is going to be among the greats, carrying the league's torch at the quarterback position for the next decade plus. There's no such guy being added in Washington, no matter what they do. More likely than not. I mean, you had Aaron Rodgers, which is not going to happen. You add a Russell Wilson, which is not going to happen. You got a shot. Deshaun Watson, same deal. You got a shot. So Derek Carr won't move the needle like those first three guys I just mentioned either. He'd be nice. He's an upgrade. But if you didn't like Kirk Cousins, you're not going to love Derek Carr. Like, those people kill me. Derek Carr would be such an upgrade. You're the same person that wanted to run Kirk Cousins out of town. What's the difference? Derek Carr fails in the clutch too. What's your point? I don't get some people. Anyway, John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. JL Smooth, who writes, couldn't have said it better myself, Lou. This one really hurts right now. I wish it was just a get over it situation for me. Hit the thumbs up button, y'all. Yeah, man. The only reason I can speak, and it's not from a first-hand account, I can speak from a second-hand account, is I literally watched my sister, who is a Falcons fan. They used to call her Sister Lou, all right? I watched her ride that wave of emotion in 2016 when they were just smoking teams, steamrolling through everybody in the playoffs, and destroying the Patriots 28-3. She threw a party for herself. She had Falcons balloons, Falcons cake, and she was just as certain that they were going to win that Super Bowl. And to watch Brady mount that comeback and her sink lower and lower and lower into that chair. And then when that comeback was complete in overtime with the James White touchdown, I've never seen my sister leave my mom and dad's house any faster. I literally turned around to see if she was okay, and she was grabbing her keys and purse off the hook. She was out the door. I was like, damn, she didn't even put her coat on. We would go out for drinks because we love to do happy hour. This was obviously pre-COVID, when it was a much simpler time then. We would go out to happy hour almost every Friday. She couldn't even, this is 3 months later, right? Like, we're getting close to the draft and, you know, all of that. She couldn't even look at the TV that had NFL Network on it. She didn't want to see it. She didn't want to hear it. Now, this is not that, because you weren't in the Super Bowl. But it's close. Because you felt like if we beat the Chiefs, we're going to win the Super Bowl. So, it's tough. It's going to be tough. Anyway, that was the last comment. What a game. 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 What a weekend of football. 4 games, all decided by a walk-off score. 3 road teams win, 1 home team prevails, and the stage is set. Championship Sunday next week. We'll start with the AFC matchup of the number 4 seeded Cincinnati Bengals heading to Arrowhead to take on the 2nd seeded Kansas City Chiefs for the right to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Meanwhile, the nightcap of the doubleheader will feature the 6th seeded San Francisco 49ers traveling to LA to take on the 4th seeded Los Angeles Rams in the trilogy of this NFC West family business. Should be a fantastic weekend or Sunday of football. I cannot wait. Bart Scott can't wait. But there is no way, whatever happens next week, it can top what we got this weekend. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me on the program. If you haven't already done so, please do me a huge solid and hit the subscribe button for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also hit the like button as it helps this channel grow exponentially. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys in the near future. Look forward to chopping it up with you on the podcast tomorrow. So much to discuss, so much to talk about. Wow. Get off the bench, get in the game, and kick it with me, your man Louie T. Until next time. Chiefs win a thriller in OT, 42-36 over the game, but still not quite there yet, Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, my God, what a postseason run he had. Sad that it came to an end like this. That's going to do it for your man, Louie T. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. I know I will. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. God bless. And good night.